Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekend edition, the Weekend Wanderlust edition of our KISS podcast. Because remember, KISS,
Keep it simple, sister.
absolutely. All right. So this is like we said, the Weekend Wanderlust. It's our weekend edition of our podcast, and it's meant to be kept very, very short. A concept, an actionable item that you can take from our previous conversation that Diana and I riffed on earlier this week. So this is going to be fun. So the way that this works, we want you to think in terms of this is a tidbit for you to dive into. And, we're not asking you to do it exactly the way, if we want you to do it exactly the way, we'll say that. But generally, you can kind of color outside the lines a little bit.
Well, and you don't even necessarily have to dive in. You can just dip your big toe if
Mhm.
that's all you have time for. But we're hoping that it's short and sweet enough where you can start some of these practices that Samantha and I do on a daily basis, that it just kind of get a taste for it. And then we're going to discuss it on Tuesday. Hopefully we'll get some feedback from you guys on our Facebook group. And if not, Samantha and I will feedback whatever we need
Mhm.
to do on Tuesday.
We'll make that shit up. No, I'm
Yes, we will. If we have to, we'll have to.
so the way this is going to work is we're going to share this information, and then uh, you guys will have the weekend to work on it. And by Sunday night or Monday morning, I'd say Monday night the latest, but hopefully by Monday, let's say, that you've given us some feedback in the Facebook group and in the Facebook group. So just go in there.
Well, and we need it by Monday evening because we do our taping on Tuesdays.
Mhm.
So in order for us to kind of include it in our Weekend Wanderlust section of our podcast, we're going to need the feedback in a timely manner.
Okay. So remember when Diana was saying how she's not very tech savvy? She's still referring to taping, like we actually roll tape instead of recording, which is digital.
Okay.
Well, so when you put stuff in the Facebook group, uh, share what it is, what the exercise was, how you perceived it, what it was like for you, and put a picture in there, and it could
Oh,
be,
we would
if you
love
want to
it.
put in a GIF of, something funny or the way you found it to be or whatever, throw in a GIF. But if you have some of your, some of the exercise or something to show for it, feel free to put that in as well. So we want you to express yourself in the group. All of this it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be an exploration. It's meant for you to dive into it and feel comfortable with it. Again, I say this is free coaching. This is how
Well, and
we
we want
got to where we are.
and we want to build a community. We want to be friends. We want everybody who is part of this Keep It Simple Sister podcast Facebook group to feel like we're friends, because we are.
Exactly. I like that. I like that. Let's be
I
friends.
like it too. Let's be
So,
friends.
so let's talk about the name real quick before we jump into our topic,
Okay.
what we're going to have y'all do. So we titled this Weekend Wanderlust.
Okay. And then, so we were trying to figure out again something cute, something sweet, something alliteration.
And
And then,
Jeeves helped us with this
and
one.
Jeeves helped us with it, our AI chat GPT guy. And he, when it first came up, I kind of had a problem, not a problem with the alliteration because it's all there. But I kind of thought wanderlust, like in my mind, wanderlust means like vagabond, like go do whatever you want to do to make you happy, but mainly that it kind of went along with travel is the way that I kind of saw it. But Samantha
Yeah.
saw it in a different light and then convinced
Yeah.
me, and I was like, okay, I get that.
Yeah, I had to sway her. I had to work on her because
A
I
little
liked it.
bit.
So being a spiritual life coach, my whole thing is about the journey. It's the journey of the soul, the journey of your own personal spiritual journey, your self-discovery journey. And all of that takes you to all of these places in which you have interactions and aha moments and expansion and all of it, which is the journey. And we say it like Weekend Wanderlust because we of course want you to do this over the weekend. If you're happening to watch this later on, no problem, still do it and hand it in. We'd still love to see it. But it's also that with the wanderlust part of it, we were trying to find something. We didn't want you to feel like it was, oh my God, you had to do it. That it was challenge. That was a word we went over. Remember?
Right. But it's more like a fun journey, part of the journey, fun part of the journey.
Yep. You're just experimenting. You're just dipping your toes in, like Diana was saying. And we'll have other opportunities later for people that want to go hardcore. But this is just to kind of have something going on a reminder every day of the week or every day of the week. That's a lot of podcasts. Every week of the year to really start shifting where you are and just having a better life. Like we said, feeling great by feeling better, right?
Yes. Well, and because we want to keep it simple, it's never going to be anything that's going to take you too much time, too much effort, too much energy. And then you can take it to whatever level you want to later on. Because basically, what we both started with was just the basics. And then, kind of added to it and added to it and added to it. And I've added things that Samantha has kind of introduced me to. And I think
versa.
yeah, I was going to say, and I think maybe I gave her some stuff too. Who knows? So on Tuesday, we were talking about gratitude. And so maybe we ought to just do a real quick wrap up of gratitude and how gratitude kind of helps us in case someone didn't see the Tuesday podcast. But if you didn't, you should go back and see it because we're really funny and it's fun. So we picked this as our first topic and our first weekend wanderlust intentionally because gratitude is everything. If you start tuning into the things that you're grateful for and that you appreciate, then there's more to be grateful for and more to appreciate. And then a gratitude journal. I'm just going to show you what mine is, but Samantha has a different way of going about it. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how, and we're also going to try not to say but how
but however, another idea on one of these podcasts, we're going to tell people maybe we could do a contest to see who can get the correct amount of ums that we do.
So I like that.
I'm aware of how many times we're doing it, and then
maybe we'll have prizes involved. Oh, that sounds fun. Okay, I'm going to show you my gratitude journal. And really just thinking about what you're grateful for helps lift your mood at any time. But what I do before I go to bed at night is I get out my journal, and I got this at Target in the dollar section. But you could use anything, it doesn't matter, but any kind of like little notebook or whatever.
The more special you make it, the more unique you make it to you, the more that you'll treasure it and want to use it.
Exactly. And it also is fun. Like this one is a relatively new one because I just wrote some stuff down. I can't find my one, it's under my bed. The one that I always use, but kind of flipping back through pages also helps me remember all the things that I have to be grateful for. And they might not be going on right this second, but they were, and they have kind of added to where my life is now, which is kind of a nice little historical record.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So mine just says, I don't know if you guys can read it or if it's backwards or whatever, but it says, I'm grateful for. And then I think on the podcast on Tuesday, I was talking about how I always start with the people that I'm grateful for. And just to give you an example of where to start if you're not really sure, just people who you're just happy to have in your life and you're grateful that they're a part of your and so my dog Daisy is one that's on there. I have my husband, my children, Samantha, of course, some other really good friends, some new friends, and hopefully I'll be able to add you guys when you're in our Facebook group. I'll be thankful for you and grateful for you, I'm sure. But then also just just start really basic. I am grateful that I woke up and am alive and have this great, wonderful life. I'm grateful I got a good night's sleep last night. Or I'm grateful I only had to get up 6 times to go to the bathroom instead of 18 times to go. Whatever it might be. Um, I'm grateful that my clothes fit more comfortably because I've been working on my fitness, and
Yay.
I just took a whole bunch of clothes to charity because they don't fit. They don't fit. Okay, and then the fun interactions all day. So you can be as specific or general as you want. Is
Mhm.
kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So my approach, I'm super bad at doing journals. I have this thing, I think I'm like OCD, I'll write something. I can't just write it down and leave it. And if I write and it doesn't literally look the right, like I'll have a special pen. I get too into the process, which is one of those things that I continually have to look at. Like I get so involved in the process that I'm not doing the content. So for
And it
me,
doesn't matter,
mhm,
but that's something you're working on
yeah, yeah.
or not, whatever.
So for me, what I found, and I had originally heard this from Abraham Hicks, and then I expanded upon it. Um, but for me, it's when I wake up in the morning, I don't even move. I just sit there in my bed and like I'll feel the temperature of the room and just be like, wow, and I'll move my hands around on the sheets just a little bit. And I'm the whole time I'm sitting there just taking it in, going, this feels good. That's my gratitude. Like this feels good. And I'll stretch my body a little bit. And there's an inner dialogue going through, just saying, I love how my body stretches. I love how I can expand my mind, my consciousness while just laying here in bed. And I'll open my eyes up and just notice how the light's coming in through the drapes. And I'll just start talking about how beautiful that is to see it coming in through the drapes. So for me, it's like this, it's a very visual experience that I'm very tactile. And so it's a very tactile experience. And I go through this thing of just appreciating what I can around me. My husband could be snoring or the cat could be banging at the door, but I shift my focus from those things and just sit in the moment for as long as I can. And a lot of people like to lay in bed. They just like to, if they could spend their morning in bed or whatever. But for me, I probably do this for a minute, 2 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And yet I feel like I've had an extra 15 to 30 minutes in bed because it's just that feeling of so many of us jump out of bed and we go and we do our thing. But because I just take that time to have the gratitude of crap, just having a bed, you know?
Yeah. And what a wonderful way to start your day.
I
And what a wonderful way to end your day like I do. So, whenever it kind of works for you, I am the post-it note queen
mm-hmm.
everywhere. And when I retired from teaching, office supplies, lack of office supplies was a problem for me. But I have post-it notes everywhere. And so I've taken a second and just jotting down what I'm grateful for when I see a post-it note somewhere. Makes me so happy. I know it's weird, but
Yeah, I like that.
isn't
Well,
that a kind of cool idea? And
it
then you
is.
can even, they're sticky. So really, if you wanted to keep track of it, I could stick it on in my gratitude journal. But just as I go, it's kind of like a little reminder.
I
Stop and smell
love
the
that.
roses for a second.
So expanding on that, my husband and I we're easing up from coffee, but we were major coffee drinkers. And so what we would do is we would go ahead and prepare the coffee for the next morning. And one of us would do it, and whoever did it would always take a post-it note, and they would write something really sweet and lovely on it. And
Oh, that's nice.
and it was just, and that got you to stop and be in gratitude. So
It
gratitude to
changes
me,
the people around you
yeah.
as well.
hmm To me, it's you're really getting into the practice of mindfulness.
Yeah.
You're in the moment because when you're doing gratitude, you're not thinking down the road of, oh, I've got all this stuff to do. You're not being fearful of the future. You're not. it gets you very grounded, which is the most important thing, because all you've got is now. And so it puts you in that now moment. It puts you in a sense of ease and just that happy feeling. Even if you live in a dump, you know, you got a roof over your head. You've got
Well, and your dump
whatever.
to someone living in a box is a mansion. So
Exactly.
you kind of have to think about it that way too. You know, it may not be exactly where you want to be right this minute, but
Mhm,
appreciate where it is and where you are.
exactly. Exactly. Well, and I can walk around my house and go, you know, that crack in the ceiling is showing, and you can see where the water damage was in here. And, you know, but when you get into this whole gratitude thing, you begin to go, I have a laundry room, not a closet. I have an actual laundry room. You know, you
Right,
start
right,
looking at these little things and realizing they're not little things. They're
right. They're big
actually
things.
really big things that you can totally take, you know, hold of and be appreciative of. And that just opens it up for more possibilities of just good stuff coming into your life. I'm being so
Well,
good not using swear words.
yes,
I
good
really
job.
promise.
Well, I know you've been working on it. Sometimes it'll fly out of me. I can't even control it. But I'm going to tell you another thing because and maybe it should be another podcast, but we'll talk about that later. For years and years and years, you know how you come upon someone and they say, "Hi, how are you?" I always answer with, "I'm fabulous. How are you?" Whether I'm fabulous or not, it doesn't really matter because they smile, I smile, everybody smiles, and it kind of changes the temperature of the room. It
Uh-huh.
kind of changes the volume. And so this is the same kind of thing. Tuning into gratitude changes the temperature of the room and
Yeah.
changes the way your interactions happen with everyone around you. So that's why we chose this as our first weekend wanderlust.
And wait, I've got to get this right. So, because it's not that you just go, oh, I'm fabulous. Okay.
Right.
Do it the
It's
way that you normally
intentional.
do. If I say to you, hey, Diana, how are you doing?
I'm fabulous. How's
Look,
it going?
she's got
And
this
I
little,
smile, I light up, and it's always fabulous. And then they'll be like, if
this
people
little,
sometimes people will be like, what? And I'm like, you should try it sometime because it makes me happy. It makes the other, you know, like whoever you're saying it
makes
to,
people
it
laughing.
makes them wonder if you're crazy. And then everybody laughs. And then it just kind of brightens people's day. And that's an easy thing to do. And how many times a day does someone say, how are you?
Mhm. So
I'm
we'll
okay.
make, I think we need to make that an actionable item another time, because I
Okay,
think
please
that,
note that because that's a big thing that I'm known for. So when I was a teacher, you know, when you're walking down the hallway, people ask you, how are you 75 times a day?
Mhm.
And I always would say, fabulous. How's it going for you? Or how are you doing? Or whatever. And so they got used to it. They expected me to say fabulous. Whether I was fabulous or not, it made it more fabulous when I say fabulous.
Well, so you guys have been given a lot of different ideas of how you can embrace this actionable item for this weekend wanderlust, and go for it in the best way that you feel you can express the essence of gratitude, taking the time, breathing it in, being in the moment, making your list. And, you know, if the first couple of times it's just you're writing things down real quickly, you know, but take a deep breath, take a
Even if you
moment.
can just find one thing to be grateful for, that's going to
Exactly.
change, you know, and you're going to add to it and add to it.
Mhm.
So, this is your mission. Should you what are the words I
You
told you?
choose to accept it.
If you choose to accept it. And I think I asked my husband where that came from and I think it's from
Mission Impossible.
yes, exactly. So this is your mission. Should you choose to accept it?
Mhm.
And I am also curious to know do you express gratitude in other ways than the ones that we talked about,
Good
or do you
one.
have some other ideas that we can share with people next week?
I love that idea. Way to go.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're wrapping up our first weekend wanderlust for
Yes.
our KISS podcast. Remember KISS?
Keep it simple, sister. We'll see you next week.
All right, bye all.